Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to make a sort of different type of video. This one will be on my biggest collecting slash investing mistakes so far, I guess. I think this video might appeal to, whether you're a new collector or a sort of more seasoned collector. I feel like these are some of the points that could be beneficial. Obviously some points that I'm going to make will be a bit more trivial. Others will be it might provoke some kind of thinking or perhaps discussion. I would love to hear whether you guys disagree or agree with me in the comments. But let's get started. I think maybe this is more towards the newer collectors, but the first biggest mistake that I've made personally was not sticking within a niche or, sort of not picking my own lane. What I mean by this is, obviously if you're a new collector, it's you don't know where to start, right? Like there's so many sets out there. Pokemon's now 25 years of cards. Here I'm just showing you some cards. So we got some Level X, some WotC era black and white, and now we have Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet cards. So there's so many cards. So how do you go about it? So one of the biggest problems that I sort of came about when I was starting the collecting journey was I kind of wanted to buy everything. One, that's not financially sound. And number two, you get such a diverse collection. Some cards maybe you didn't really want. Some cards maybe you bought it just because maybe another YouTuber told you to. So I think picking a sort of area or specialty in this hobby is really important. So hence why I think you should pick your own sort of lane and try to focus on that, because the moment you're able to set a goal for yourself, what type of cards you're collecting, that will eliminate a lot of the noise. So you wouldn't keep on getting distracted, keep on buying random cards. I feel like this way, though, you're also able to achieve your collecting goals faster. So as an example for myself, I love this Level X era. These cards are part of my childhood. They're super nostalgic. So one of the main goals I have still currently is to collect all the Level X cards in a PSA 9 or higher, but usually just the PSA 9 grade. So by doing this, I'm able to really, focus on one subset of the hobby and become an expert in that. I won't get distracted by the other eras of Pokemon. So I think it helped me a lot financially. I was able to make better purchases, and I was able to sort of, learn a lot about a specific topic and get good at it. And then I sort of shifted to other niches. But for sure, I think you should pick at least one or two specific types of cards or eras or types of Pokemon. If you're trying to complete a set, or if you're collecting sealed product, like what type of sealed product. You obviously, you don't want to collect everything, because then your collection, loses some kind of identity, and it's hard to keep focused, I would say. And it's easy to sort of undergo burnout. Yeah, so I would say that was one of the biggest mistakes, as when I got back in, I was trying to buy everything. So I was, whether that's graded, raw, even sealed, ripping packs, I wasn't able to achieve as much as I wanted to, given the time frame as well as the financial input. You want to set your own goals for this. This sort of leads into the second point really well, which is collect what you love and enjoy. I think this is critical, as again, goes back to picking your own lane and sticking to it. But I think this also keeps you motivated. You don't feel the burnout as much, and if you're actually collecting stuff that you love and enjoy, you're not as fixated on the financial aspect of the cards. So these cards came from my childhood. I will always have an attachment to this, because I remember having these tins, or at least owning these tin promos, and it's just such a core memory that even if this card goes down super low, I wouldn't be too bothered by it. However, again, I guess this is a bit more of the collecting side, but in terms of the investment side, I feel like you do want to still pick stuff that you actually enjoy, because the chances are, if you actually enjoy these cards or sealed products, someone else out there will as well. I think the other point is, with social media, and if you guys are watching this channel, you guys are probably watching a bunch of other YouTubers. It's really easy to get distracted. If other YouTubers talk extensively about a certain type of card, you might feel obligated or sort of interested in purchasing those kind of cards as well. So I actually had gone through this myself, especially back then when there was a bit more hype. I'm not gonna lie, like I got into certain sets, let's say Evolutions or Hidden Fates, just because a lot of YouTubers were talking about it, opening it. Human nature to also kind of lean towards that side if you see them talk about it a lot. Almost acted as sort of a distraction from my primary goals. So I think at the end of the day, you should decide for yourself what cards that you want to pursue and why you want to pursue them. And I think that way you'll be happier overall as well. And I think you'll end up with a collection that you're super proud of. I guess my last point is, as an example, I was collecting a little bit of seal just because I saw quite a lot of influencers talk about how good of a investment seal products are and how it never goes down. While I don't disagree with some of the points, how it's a really safe investment, and historically I have seen the sealed market go up, even for products that I've purchased before. However, the fact of the matter is that I don't actually enjoy keeping sealed product. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just want to open them. I'd rather have the cards inside the packs. That's just me personally. And yeah, I soon realized, I bought some sealed products, just seeing how other YouTubers talk about sealed investing. It's a huge topic, right? But then I soon came to realize I don't actually want those sealed products in my collection. Not only do they take up so much space, I just don't get that much enjoyment out of them. I can't look at them as much. I can't. Some products are not that good of a display piece. So for me personally, I decided I wanted to just keep my collection mainly focused on PSA 9 cards. You guys see me talk about it a lot on this channel, how much I like the value of PSA 9 cards and how much I think it's a good, at least collector and somewhat, a decent investor kind of grade as well. So yeah, after I made that decision, I've never looked back. I've been super stoked about my collection. I put it on display. And I think I am, I just realized for myself that I cannot collect sealed, and it doesn't give me as much joy. So yeah, so that would be the end of point number 2, is really just collect what you love. The third biggest mistake was confusing rarity and scarcity. Face value, they sound quite similar. So what's the difference? For me, rarity is actually how limited is this card? How many copies are out there? So we know from history that the base set, as well as some of the more modern sets, such as Sword and Shield, are widely printed. So they're not going to be that rare. There's going to be cards that are quite readily available on the open market. However, there are some cards that I would consider a bit more rare, such as this card here. So this is a Mysterious Pro Trophy card, and this was only awarded during the Winter Challenge tournaments, awarded twice in 07 and 08. We'll have to refer back to Bulbapedia for the exact details, but I think the estimated copy realistically for these cards are, in the probably low thousands. So I would say this is considered a quite rare card. Obviously this card doesn't pop up for sale that often. However, what about a scarce card? So let's take these two. So these two cards are, if you search up their name, they're everywhere on eBay. They were in every tin back in 07. They were right there in the front of the tins, and they were easily accessible. So many people out there, and I have friends that still have these kind of copies in their collection, although it's probably not in really good condition. However, the fact of the matter is they weren't rare. Maybe in higher grades, such as PSA 10s, they might be more scarce. So these PSA 10 pop reports, I believe they're both under 10 graded, a 10. But the mistake I made was I thought that the 9s would be a lot harder to obtain. And I remember looking at the population reports for both of these two cards, and I believe this one was especially low, like under 30 something. So 30 graded at 9, sorry. And this one was around 50 that is graded at least a 9. So for these cards, I thought that since there weren't that many graded a 9, that, you know, there might be some premium attached to it. And so I did have to pay a bit higher just because I thought, you know, that's what the what a good price point is for these cards. So I think I paid maybe $150. However, you know, if you guys search up now, I'm pretty sure there are recent sales and listings for around, you know, $100, maybe even less. I believe this one recently sold for like 90 or something. So yeah, you know, I lost out because I wasn't aware that sure, these cards are scarce in a higher grade. These cards aren't rare. They're set cards. And no, sorry, they're not even set cards. They're actually just promo cards. So, you know, one might argue that they're even more abundant just because any tin will guarantee you receive one of these. So I know for sure that there's so many more people out there in closets with these types of Pokemon cards, these types of Black Star promos that just haven't been graded yet. Maybe hard to find sometimes in a 9 or higher on eBay. They're inherently not rare cards. And similarly with this card, I did pay quite a bit of a premium. So I think I lost like maybe 50% of my investment on this card, just because I thought the 2005 was a bit more rare. However, you know, soon after the market was flushed out of these victory medals, and these aren't that hard to find, and they go for maybe right around 200-ish, 300 maybe. But I think I paid like at least 500 or something for this. I think the main takeaway is sometimes you see a card that you want, whether that's a promo card or a, you know, set card or an alt art that you're looking for. Just because you don't see it on eBay, like just because you don't see an eBay listing, doesn't mean that it's rare. It's probably scarce, maybe. I think in terms of rarity, you don't know for sure, right? Yeah, even for the promo cards, even for some of these higher end, I would say promo slash, you know, entry level trophy cards like this one, it's still not well defined how many copies were actually given out. So I think in terms of rarity in Pokemon, it's quite hard to define. Like we know some eras were printed less, such as the Level X, EX era, which are sort of the down times in Pokemon, and hence the printing quantities were lower. I think at the end of the day, doing your research, and especially, I can't hammer this down enough, with set cards, like these ones, you know, that you can pull from packs. So any card that you can pull from a pack, whether it's an alt art, like an Umbreon VMAX alt art, or a Hidden Fates Charizard, they're maybe harder to pull than the other cards from the pack. However, they're not rare. They're massively printed. You know, they're printed to oblivion just because of so many people collecting. You know, whether that's modern or even some of the more vintage, the WotC holos, especially like a graded 9 one, not like a super, super rare card. I think, you know, you can always wait. Just if you see an auction or buy now that's too high, like just don't buy it. There will be another copy. So you don't have to have the fear of that. You know, if you don't get it right now, you might not obtain it again. I can guarantee you almost that you know, these set cards, there will be another copy on the open market for you to obtain. Only caveat is with sort of these more, maybe like not this one, but like maybe higher end trophy cards where, you know, you see a decent deal, but because it's already quite rare to find to begin with, and it's not, you know, from a pack that you can just pull or that anybody can pull. This you have to actually, you know, win some kind of tournament to receive. So with these kind of cards, sometimes I think it makes a bit more sense to pay at or even sometimes slightly higher than the previous sale price. Just because, you know, if you're confident that it's so rare that the supply is just so low, it won't take that many people to increase the price. For this was one of my, I guess, wins. So I purchased this for around 3K, and I believe now the going price is anywhere from 3.5 to 4K. for this PSA 9 copy of this card. You know, there are some things that maybe it's worth just pulling the trigger, and if you see it pop up, scoop it up, or if it's severely under market, you really want to do a quick flip, you know, that could make sense. But for myself, I like just buying more value items. So, you know, waiting for the right auction to come up, and just, you know, if it goes over your budget or the market values, yeah, just let it be, let it get sold, and there will be another copy that comes up. And I know the buy it now are tempting, but if you want your best bang for your buck, usually buy it nows are going to be higher than the auction prices in general. And the fourth point that I want to make is utilizing different outlets for your purchasing needs. So eBay is sort of, I think, one of the gold standards in our hobby. They do have the most selection, the most newest listed cards every day. However, you know, sometimes they might not be the best. You know, they might not have the best prices. Let's say I'll use these two as an example. Besides eBay, there's obviously many other auction sites such as PWCC, Heritage, Bai for Japanese goods, as well as Golden Auctions, just to name a few. And there's a bunch of online sites as well for your sealed or retail purchases. Recently, I discovered in-person avenues of obtaining some of these cards for my collection. So I went to my first card show recently, and I was able to make some good deals. So for sure, if I was to look on eBay, I wouldn't have picked these up just because of the quite a bit higher prices that you see on eBay. But, you know, there's a lot of advantages of going to these card shows. I'm just using my own example, but the seller gets to save on seller fees. So eBay takes like a 13 to 15% cut. And then there's shipping costs and tax and insurance. Here, you know, if you do an in-person deal like this, it's just straight cash, easy done, and there's no risk. As in, like, your package won't get lost in the mail. So, you know, definitely, for myself at least, I recently discovered how fun and good of a deal you can get at some of these card shows. So, you know, just as an example, I picked this up for 150, and so 150 Canadian. And, you know, it goes for at least $30-$40 and maybe even more all day long on eBay. So I was able to save $30-$40 at least on the price, and so did the seller. So, you know, it was a win-win for both of us. Similarly, with this card, you know, this goes for quite a bit online as well. It's quite a scarce card, I would say. It doesn't get sold too often, but you know, the last few solds were all above the, I believe, the price point that I paid for this. So I got this and another EX card for $230 together. So this was, I guess, about $115. This goes to show that, you know, if you're able to accept different avenues of buying your cards, you can definitely perhaps get a better deal. The reason why people love sticking with eBay or something that they always use is because obviously familiarity, right? We want to stick with things that we're familiar with, but you know, that might not always yield us the best deals. So yeah, this point is just, you know, utilize the different outlets of purchasing Pokemon cards. And I would like to also add that, you know, Facebook Marketplace, maybe even Craigslist, you know, if you do a safe meetup spot, you can find some good deals just in your own neighborhood or, you know, in your own city. This way, you know, a lot of times you get to avoid those third-party fees. My last point is just budgeting properly. I'll use some examples, you know, some losses that I had, sort of, I guess, some regrets for sure. But it's really important to keep track of how much you're spending. It's so easy to go beyond your budget, especially if, you know, you're just starting out. I feel like there's so many things that could catch your attention. So many sealed products. It can get addicting opening products. You know, I've heard stories of people getting really into that because it's like gambling, right? You're opening up a pack. You're hoping to get a good card that may or may not recoup your money, but usually it's a negative expected value, right, for packs. Especially setting a budget based on what you're collecting is really important. Maybe even just keeping track of it in like a spreadsheet will be helpful. So this way allows you to not overspend, and you can figure out how much can you actually afford to spend on Pokemon cards. So these are luxury goods, right? So obviously you want to have your basic stuff down, such as rent, maybe your car payments or your loans, credit card debt. Pay those off first, obviously. I'm not a financial advisor, but come on, like it's trivial, right? I don't have to say that. I'm sure you guys all know, but I think some people might need to hear that. This is, only if you have money left over. I think it's okay to, maybe for myself at least, I'm okay with dabbling in a bit of collectibles. But again, I myself will need to budget how much I spend. And I think the other thing that we don't really talk about is, you budget how much you spend, but sometimes it's okay if you don't find the card that you're looking for. I guess this goes back to, like, it's really helpful when you have a niche or a niche that you're going after. So you're able to only look at those kind of cards and not get distracted by the cards that, maybe don't fulfill your collection goals. So for me personally, I try to, maybe only look at level X or EX cards more frequently. Really important to have some capital on hand. Sometimes you see a great auction come up, you see a for myself recently, I saw a Gold Star Groudon come up, and good thing I had capital left over, and it was I had it readily available, and I was able to snag a really good deal. Right after my purchases, there were Groudon Gold Star cards selling for higher than what I purchased, so I thought I got a great deal. But that wouldn't have happened if I sort of didn't have that availability of cash. So I think that's important, that you want to have cash ready, in case something comes up for a great deal, and that you can afford it comfortably. So I'll share a sort of mistake personally that I made. So I previously had the Scream Pikachu. I'll show it on the screen. It's a beautiful card. However, I wasn't budgeting properly back then, because that was earlier in my collecting days. I had this beautiful card. Although I did purchase it and the price went up. I just needed money 1 month because a lot of unexpected events happen. That obviously you do want to plan better for your unexpected expenses and having a safety net. However, I guess my safety net just wasn't as high as it should have been. I needed some cash. I needed more money to be comfortable. So I decided to sell that card. By doing so, I sold it. I did earn a little bit of, I didn't lose money on it, but I sold it for 0.8K-ish mark. Long later, the card skyrockets. I think it went up by like $1,000. So, of course, I wish I had kept it. And I think right now it's at a higher price than I sold it for. So that was a major loss for me. Looking back at it, I should have been more conservative with my purchases. So, whether that's better budgeting or having a just bigger safety net that would have allowed me to mitigate, I guess, selling that card, which is now in retrospect, it was a really dumb move. But I mean, hey, I learned from it. We all make mistakes, right? That's why I am sharing these personal stories to you guys, to show you guys mistakes that I've made, that hopefully you guys can be at least more careful about. Hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes that I have. And yeah, I really hope this was some kind of value, or at least entertaining, to hear about my own experiences and my collecting journey. I just thought, some of you guys might be interested in what I've been through and the lessons I learned. So, and I guess just to add on, I really liked watching other YouTubers talk about their sort of mistakes, and I think we can all learn from each other's mistakes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, make less of them. And yeah, with that, please like and subscribe. Consider checking out my affiliate links in the description below. Those are websites that I trust and use frequently. So yeah, Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Please leave any questions, comments in the description below. I'll reply to all of you guys. Thank you, everyone. Peace out.